Hello everyone and welcome to my project, the FairlynForest. So we've had plenty of updates in this past week due to actually figuring out the issue that I've been having so far that's prevented the entire dialogue system from working in the first place. And then other new additions are mostly environmental. So as you can see, I have this new item called Vegetation Spawner. And so essentially works in conjunction with the terrain to take over the editing parts of this terrain function where you can actually add trees and rocks and other things. But instead of actually having it in the terrain, we have the vegetation spawner, which is a little bit more automatic. So as you can see here, I have trees and boulders. So when used in conjunction with the terrain, and so I have here the texture painter. So I have the two layers, which one is dirt, you can see the brown, and then the other is green. You can see bits of green here. So the trees and rocks, as long as I have it set up, let me click that. Where is it? There was a never mind, it's back in the vegetation spawner. So here I can select a layer, and so now the tree or grass or whatever only spawns inside the layer. And so to be more accurate, you would increase this, and it pressing in respawner would have it so that it enforces more of the spawning inside the grass, because without these layers I would have trees inside my chapel here, which isn't very good. So the other thing I did was add these grass textures. They're not too good, they're more like literal blades of grass, but as long as they're dense enough like this, then it's fine for like environmental looks. But I may try to adjust the settings later to make it more denser. And then I have these little spaces as without the grass, which could be like campfire sites. And then the last addition was with the environment and mostly set up with like minor adjustments later done. And I can add in the crystals, which are essential to the plot of the story. Some of these are just in the middle of nowhere, while others are set into rocks, like so. The original crystals are much larger, so I shrunk these down. And then I put the NPC prefab on it for as one of the potential ideas for or how I want the crystals to be collected. I will either set up code for a collection and with like pressing the letter E or something, while otherwise is I will have it just be through dialogue, it will self-destruct, and then also I'll tie that into actually being able to like influence quests. So let's load this up to show off how the quest works. So I haven't touched the UI yet, but we are getting the actual dialogue now. So some exposition and everything's working as intended. And that's not supposed to happen. Okay, so this still a bit of glitches. Maybe I missed something in the dialogue. Yes, so it seems that I had accidentally forgotten to set up this, linking all these up. So okay, so now it should be working. But the dialog system does work now. So if I do press space or click, then it does cut off the conversation. So hopefully I can figure out how to actually speed up the conversation. Yeah, it links up back to it. So as part of the new system, I started putting a bit of context into some of the prompts, so the players know what could potentially end a conversation, while what else is just a simple explanation. So I haven't worked out the cinematics yet, but the camera would change so that we would be able to see the bandit who is behind us. And then I think I need to do one last dialogue adjustment, and because this is supposed to be like that. It should be. So for now, so we have the simple conversations. There's also the barks or idle conversations that have been going on. I added a few new dialogue options from what was not known before for extra context given to the player. It's a bit long, so I may have to cut it up into chunks to spread out throughout the story, but so what happened there was I tried to bring up the quest log, and so that's still a little bit glitchy, but maybe because I'm just missing the text log debug, or not the debug, but okay, so I can't actually see it there, but so for a new concept that I started implementing for the system is sometimes giving like notice of like attitude that the player may give to the characters for different responses. I try to add in some jokes or fourth wall breaks in regards to the storytelling for to keep the entertainment value higher, but this isn't really new. It's just that you can actually see it now. I'll probably have to adjust the camera a little bit for better viewing, since I haven't implemented the actual combat system yet. Yes, you can see the crystal here. This is close to the original size. It's a little bit bigger, but while we have that here, there's no actual dialogue set up. So another new thing is I added these flowers for more environmental aspects. You have Paladin Mark here. This is what I meant by some conversational aspects of like harsh, where like the old man at the church told me to find you for some work. Um, so other than having this environment and dialogue, I'd also slightly changed the lights. So it wasn't probably seen, but the chapel was actually more glowing or brighter now. And nowadays, it actually looks more brick-like. You can actually tell that it's a slightly older building with like the darker lighting. So dialog manager, here we have this one single database. So this probably needs to be adjusted to actually have the quest log window actually working, but that can be set up later. Where is the light now? I believe it has to be somewhere in part of these components, and where I touched upon the lights. But future changes is that I'll probably change the skybox to be a bit more greener and sparkly to indicate the magical nature of the forest, and then probably spruce up the trees a bit more to actually give the indication of a forest. And then the final two bits would be adding a few camps to the environment to give the impression that there are actually bandits around, and then probably close off with larger rocks in the surrounding for small mountains for the mining operation, and or even just closing off the map so the player doesn't just wander off. Yeah, that's all of the updates for this week. A ton of work has been done. And then another NPC would be mining operation leader. Well, I have the actor set up, but I just still need the actual model for it for them. Yeah, that's all of it.